What up guys, SuperMetal983 here bringing us a little discussion vlog, and this may turn into a rant kind of video for you, and as you can read by the title, this is about slam and the term that is used in extreme metal, in amongst deathcore and death metal, the argument and stuff. I'm gonna put my thought out there because I don't think I've seen anyone do a discussion vlog on this, and I'd like to see some comments, maybe some video responses if I'm that lucky. But yeah, let us know what you think about this subject, and I'm going to present my thoughts on the subject, and let's get on with it. But yeah, this is about the argument on real slam versus fake slam that's going about in the scene at the moment. And if you don't know what it is, it's basically the term of like slam brutal death metal or slam and brutal deathcore. Slam and deathcore is not a thing, and all that stupid arguments and stuff. It's basically a modern adaptation of Deathcore Isn't Metal, so that's basically what it is nowadays. But anyway, let's crack on with this. Obviously, the real slam takes on board bands such as Devourment, Abominable Putridity, Kraanium, Extermination Dismemberment, Korpse, Epicardiectomy, sorry, I'm not good at pronunciation, as you know, Cephalotripsy, amongst other big names in slam that you can think of off the top of your head, versus the fake slam bands such as Ingested, Vulvodynia, Within Destruction, Acrania, Stillbirth, Acranius, and some would even consider Mental Cruelty, for example, as the fake slam. It's basically the argument that which one is this, and what's kind of pushed us to do this video is having countless arguments with people over Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, amongst others, that slam deathcore doesn't exist. And I'm going to lay some reality on yous right here. It does exist. And the reason before I'm going to say that is because you may or may not know it, but it's actually been a thing for many, many years, since the MySpace days. That's like in the 2000s. So it's been going quite a few years, and now that it's actually adapted into becoming an actual proper term or genre, people are losing their minds. Like, it's not slam, it's deathcore and stuff like that. And in my personal opinion, I'm on the side of the fake slam, in my term, the real slam. But anyway, yeah, I think personally that slam deathcore does exist. It's what it is, basically. If for those who can't bear education, then maybe go away and watch some, I don't know, some Slayer live videos or whatever. Do whatever the hell you want. But anyway, but I think that slam deathcore actually exists, because if you look at the early days of the deathcore genre, when it started to blow up a little bit in the MySpace era, like the mid-2000s sort of era, you've got the likes of Impending Doom, very old Suicide Silence, and early Whitechapel, I Declare War, amongst others, who were really starting to birth the genre that is, you know, brutal deathcore, slam deathcore. Because if you listen to the likes of I'm going to take one album for example, Kneel Dead Risen by Impending Doom, which is absolutely monstrous deathcore album. If you listen to that, that is basically the start of what was the brutal deathcore sort of beginnings, really. It's very slam orientated, the music. It's repulsively heavy. It's got the slammy sort of riff writing, and quite frankly, that is slam and deathcore. Like, obviously, if you look at them nowadays, they are more straight up deathcore band, but still, the early days, that first album was complete brutal deathcore, slam deathcore, whatever term you want to pigeonhole that. But for this, we're going to call it slam deathcore. And then same could be said for Whitechapel with the Somatic Defilement, really. I think personally, if you look at that album and what it brought forth in the world of deathcore, and the vocals, everything attached to it, and the lyrical approach of being very violent, it is pretty much the start of the slam deathcore sound that really influenced it to all the bands that we later know today that I've already mentioned at the start of this video. And then over the years, it's dib and dabbled. Like, there's been a couple of bands break from it. Obviously, Acrania, as I mentioned before, and you could even say Annotations of an Autopsy were definitely one of the forefront of bringing it back. I can't remember what year it was off the top of my head, but with the Sludge City EP and the Before the Throne of Infection, that is slam deathcore. I know, it breaks your mind. Yep, that is slam deathcore. So what really makes it fake slam? I mean, that it's just a real fucking shitty term. I mean, like, the term fake means it's not actually slam. Whereas if you listen to the Sludge City EP, or even we'll take one of the more modern ones from that little list that I mentioned before, Vulvodynia, who are more straight up slam brutal death metal, but they are definitely deathcore influenced. They get pigeonholed into fake slam, which is a bit weird, kind of. I'd class them right in the middle, but yeah, they get pigeonholed into that fake slam shit, and which is just dumb anyway. But yeah, I definitely feel that that if you look at the history of deathcore, it's always been influenced by the whole slam brutal death metal movement. I mean, you look at all the photos of bands playing like really small venues, and like most of the time they're wearing like a Devourment shirt or whatever, and you can see that they've brought that influence forward. And then we'll bring in my favourite band of all times right now, Ingested. They kind of made it a proper thing, really, if you ask me, with the launch of Surpassing the Boundaries of Human Suffering, whereas that was along with Annotations of An Autopsy, Before the Throne of Infection, were the outright break of brutal deathcore and slam deathcore, because you can't deny it, it's got the elements of slam and brutal death metal, but they took the intensity, the more diabolic intensity from deathcore and just made it a new thing and made it their own, basically. And that's what they've been known for and grown to be known by, from UK to Europe to all over the world. That's what they're starting to get to get known for. And then obviously Annotations dwelled into straight up death metal, then into hardcore deathcore sort of stuff, and then they're going back to the original style, which is all well and good. So on that, but Ingested obviously adapted that and moved on and created some really unique albums and really created the genre brutal deathcore and slam brutal deathcore, whatever you want to call it. We're going to say brutal deathcore because I don't think like they have slam elements, but they're not really a slammy sort of band. But they definitely have some slams in there, but they're not really a specific slam band, if you ask me. But anyway, but the argument then goes on to the likes of Acrania, Vulvodynia, and Within Destruction, with them bands being called the fake slam, which is where it's at for me, because I think personally, you look at, especially Within Destruction, the fake slam term that they get put onto, like, honestly, Within Destruction's Death Wish, if you haven't heard, like, Void wasn't really specifically a lot like slam, but what Death Wish was the evolutionary step for deathcore to become slam and deathcore. I mean, if you listen to that album, that is literally what slam and deathcore is pretty much meant to be, you know, like the modern, that's how evolution has worked. Genres grow. I mean, death metal moved on from death metal to brutal death metal, obviously getting techier, maybe lower and guttural, if that's even a word, and then sort of took the blasting out and just made slam and brutal death metal, which was just repulsive, and then obviously moving on to gore grind, etc, etc, etc. You know, the growth, the evolution of a genre, that's how it fucking works. But then you get deathcore, which has obviously been not around as much as death metal, has gone from deathcore to brutal deathcore, which it obviously was, as I said, in the Annotations sort of era. That was like kind of the start of remnants of brutal deathcore and slam. But now it's now starting to get that evolutionary step now, which is the slam deathcore. Yeah, and Within Destruction are leading that charge, if you ask me, when it comes to the slam deathcore, the true slam deathcore sound, which is just really pummeling as slam brutal death metal was to death metal back then. Yeah, it's still got a couple of blast beats here and there, but it's just repulsively heavy, and it still has the deathcore orientation, but it's slam, it's slow, it's chunky, it's chuggy. You know, that's what slam is, so why can't deathcore evolutionize and become, you know, a slam and deathcore band? Like, that's what I don't get about this whole pointless argument, is the fact is, if death metal can add slams in, how can't deathcore add slams in and become a slam deathcore genre? Like, that's the argument that they had. So it's deathcore, so it can't be slam. I mean, these people are for real? Really? Like, they just can't. It's like the elitism in it that just makes us laugh, because I think you're just not accepting the growth of a genre. Like, because slam deathcore is growing in popularity because of, shout out to me boy Dan and Ash from Fallen the BRAWL for, like, you know, exposing these bands a lot more, because they do an absolutely fantastic job. But there's loads of other bands that are growing. I mean, Osiah, I class them personally as down tempo, but if you listen to them, they have a lot of influence from slam. There we go. I know it's fucking hard to believe that a deathcore band could be influenced from slam and bring slam into their genre. I know it's absolutely mind-blowing, isn't it? But honestly, like, it's all evolution, and people are losing their fucking minds over it. And I'm watching this and getting messages from people saying, like, oh, it's either slam or it's deathcore. Sometimes I just turn around and go, okay, is it slam or death metal? And then they just have nothing to say. It's like, well, it's slam. And I'll go, okay, well, how can't deathcore have slam? It beats me, that argument, and they just can't accept it. And then, I mean, I had an argument with someone on Instagram about it, and that was over when I said, in my top albums video, that Within Destruction, this is slam, and they made a meme out of it, so the guys will end up watching this, so thanks for that, guys. You know, big break sort of thing. Anyway, but yeah, I definitely feel that it is one of the most pointless, stupid arguments ever, and these people just can't see a growth in a genre. It's the elitism kind of thing. But for those who actually do like brutal deathcore, like as I said, the Within Destructions, the Vulvodynias, or Vulvodynia, whichever way you want to pronounce it, because I'm not good at pronunciation, as you know, Acrania, amongst others, you know, they've made the genre what it is today. An Annotation of an Autopsy, obviously, because they're coming back, you know, that's how it is. But yeah, all these other bands that I've said, I absolutely love, Devourment, Abominable Putridity, Kraanium, and stuff like that. It's just like, you know, like, those bands, some of them, I'm not going to name any because I don't want to put myself into shit, but some even say to these other bands, you're not slam. And I think to myself, right, okay, why do you have to point that out? Just, if you appreciate what they're doing, support each other, and what they're doing for the metal industry in growing a genre, you should be proud of that, rather than going like, you're not slam. I think it's one of the most funniest arguments ever, and quite frankly, I think it's a good laugh every time I watch it and see it or get messages about it. But it does slightly annoy us, because it's like, you people just can't accept growth, really. And yeah, this has turned into a rant. But obviously, there's a lot of bands like Ingested and Vulvodynia who are kind of merging that gap between the fake slam and the real slam, but obviously still getting the comments thereabouts. You know, it's honestly a pointless argument, and if people feel like that, then by all means do it. But you're just shoving it down people's faces when everyone's entitled to an opinion. But if we're going to talk about facts, my personal view, and my beliefs, you could say, is that deathcore is just evolving and adapting slam way more than it ever has been. And if people can't accept that, then great. I'm sure you've got some great slam bands out there that you can listen to. But slam is verging into deathcore, and deathcore's taking it on board. And there's nothing you can do. So you can rant and moan about it all day and all night if you want. It doesn't bother me. But we're getting some sick bands from this. And they're influencing my band, I might as well add. So you know how it is. It's the evolution, and if you can't deal with it, jog on. Because quite frankly, I'm on the side of fake slam. So yeah, let us know what you think personally about this argument or whatever. Leave some comments down below, or if I can, as I said at the start, get some video responses. I would like to see some, and then leave us a comment if you've made a video, and I'll go and watch it and see what you think. I like to see different conflicting opinions. I think it's quite fun to watch personally. But yeah, let us know what you think, and I'll be coming out with more CD reviews and stuff. That's not going to stop us of more fake slam and more real slam in the upcoming future. So what can you do? But yeah, I'll see you until the next video, and remember, stay metal, and I'll see you later, and keep it slam as well.